one. We are now recording, Florence. Now, Florence, I'm delighted to be having this conversation with you, and thank you very much for taking the time for this, because we met in 2015 at the AATH, the Association for the Application of Therapeutic Humor in Philadelphia. And you mentioned back then, you see, that you've been involved in AATH, and I knew you've been involved in something before that, which was Nurses for Laughter.
Yes, it was all nurses.
All nurses, and from the little chat we've been having just now, you became involved with Nurses for Laughter back in about 1986,
About.
And they were, and you said you received a newsletter, and it was full of sort of Norman Cousins type quotes, and so listening to what you were saying, I felt that when you received that newsletter, part of you just said, yes, this is a good thing.
It was actually therapeutic to my own ears and body, that it was like the perfect thing for me to grab onto at a time that I can only describe as stress city.
So did you, Florence, does that mean that you found some joy in stress city?
Yeah, well, very little. At least the pockets provided by Nurses for Laughter were highly welcome.
Yeah.
Like, I would come home from a day of work where I was overworked, underpaid, and didn't know whether I would have work the following week. And I would read this stuff that was so positive. It was uplifting. It was like soul food.
Yes, yes, yes.
I knew it was part of me. It was like stuff I already knew and had done, and I knew the feeling, and it reminded me that there could be more in the future.
Very nice. And it propelled you to join the AATH, the Association for the Application of Therapeutic Humor.
That's right.
So you've been a laughter practitioner, and joy and humor and positivity for quite a while now, Florence.
Yeah, I seriously started after I became an AATH member. I felt it's the nurse that needs the help, because if I can influence a nurse, she influences how many patients?
Yeah.
Many, exponential number of people. Yeah. I worked in a recovery room. Before that, I worked in a hospital where I was given the job to wake people up safely after general anesthesia and heavy duty surgery. And I had done it there. If you can do it there, you can do it anywhere.
Absolutely, yeah, fantastic, wonderful, amazing, Florence. I knew this was going to be a fascinating conversation, Florence. So in your experience, Florence, your experience of sort of this, that, and the other, what is joy to you? What does joy mean to you, Florence?
Okay, well, I can best describe it. First, I'll answer your question and not keep you in suspense. Joy is a product of enjoyment.
Oh, nice. Yes, nice. Yes, yes.
And enjoyment almost always contains relaxation.
Oh, very nice. Yes, yes.
And that flow, and when you have the flow going where you feel you're in the right place at the right time,
Yes.
that's enjoyment. And sometimes you don't even know you're having joy. It's later, it falls down on you, kind of like sunlight or whatever, something that it gives you a glow. So, okay, now I'm gonna go on and tell you my British first instructor, serious instructor.
Okay.
In humor and probably enjoyment was none other than Mary Poppins. Because Mary Poppins said, in every job that must be done, there is an element of fun.
Fun.
And you find the fun and snap. I can't snap my fingers. You snap your fingers. The job's a game.
Yes, 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 yes.
So, okay, going back to the recovery room where I was waking up a person that was under the influence of a hallucinogenic drug. And he was saying, I mean, it would take a half an hour to describe all the things funny that he was saying. But I was way down at the end of the room, far from my boss. And I was laughing with this patient who was coming up with one after the other hysterical comments about his surgeon. And so I was laughing uncontrollably. And my boss yelled down there, "What's going on?" And I said, "I'm finding the fun."
Amazing. I bet he recovered well.
Well, I never saw any of my patients after that because they went on to their recovery.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have the opportunity to answer that, but at the moment he jumped into another stage of at least he oxygenated, you know that.
Fantastic, fantastic. And so the second question I like to ask people, which again you've kind of answered in a way, is how important is joy to you?
Well, it's like air. It's like that important because if you're enjoying yourself, in whatever way, if you're from small to large experiences, if you're enjoying yourself, the joy is given. It's a given in the equation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you will get joy if you enjoy.
Fantastic.
So whether I think it's important is not important. It is there, like air.
Very nice. Yes, yes. An image that kept coming to mind, you see, when you were talking about your being in the recovery room, is you were like the angel of joy, bringing people around after they'd had their little, their little surgical nap. You were their first point of contact And you would, you know, so you were kind of an angel of joy, helping people sort of come back into this reality.
Well, they didn't care about the joy. They cared about being alive.
Yes.
And the truth is, many people hear you, you know, they hear you first.
Yes.
To hear, you're okay. You're going to be okay. You just
Very
take a deep breath.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we're here, and pump, pump, pump. Your blood pressure's good.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, what a privilege, of course, to be in that a role. But also the other thing I was thinking is, if I was coming round from a general anaesthetic, Florence, I can't think of anyone else I would rather have bring me back than you.
Well, again, I didn't think too much about influencing them, except if they had a trouble breathing.
Yeah.
Then I wanted to be a stronger force,
Yeah.
to get them to go on.
Yes. Yes.
But, no, I wasn't ever trying to entertain anyone.
No.
Even my colleagues, I didn't really try to make them laugh. I was just, that was way before I knew anything about humor and laughter. It just happened. And that is what made me a solid AATH member, because what they're doing there is so needed.
Yes. Yes. Fantastic. Florence, I'm so glad. Well, I'm so glad, for example, that we met in 2015. I'm so glad you came. You came to the session then, and I'm so glad we had that photo opportunity at the very end of the conference. And I'll put that photo in the in the thread.
Okay.
And I knew this would be a fantastic conversation, Florence. It's just been lovely having you share some of your joy with us all, Florence.
Well, before you go on to your next joy action, I wanted to tell you another thing.
Please.
That you might have never heard before. Not about me, but about patients that are in recovery. I mean, in recovery from illness, not surgery. When I felt like I wanted to be a humor nurse, for lack of a better word, a therapeutic influence. I got the idea to publish an article, and in there I did a survey on my patients. This was in a different hospital, totally different. Most of the people were in the hospital for a week. Okay, so that's a time when I could get to know the person. Yeah. They weren't like a passing ship in the night in the emergency room or something. And so I went, after I had this various humor contact, and by that I mean I would joke around while I was doing a treatment, or I would pass them their pain medication and give them a one-liner that was appropriate, like about a joke against a hospital, for instance. And at the end of the week, I picked some patients, maybe about a dozen patients, and I went around and surveyed them about their experience and humor. Like I say, remember I was here and I told you that joke and you told me this and that. And often I would get another joke, which was very good for the stress I felt, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And anyway, they all said positive things, but there was one lady who said, "You're my friend. You're unlike anybody else I've run into. You're my friend. I feel more safe because you're my friend." And I said, "Well, thank you," but I was mind boggled. I never expected to make a true connection like that with, one shift of work. You see the person when they have breakfast and you check out at 3:00, and that's possible.
Fantastic. Angel of joy, you see, Florence, whether you realize it or not.
Well, now I'm one of your joy buddies.
Great. Well, I'm delighted. It fills me with joy, Florence. As indeed has this whole conversation. It's been lovely. And thank you very, very much for taking the time and for sharing your experience. Because it's always lovely, you see, I always find it lovely. And talking with people who've been in the field for quite a long time, because you have experience, and you have that, you have that sort of longevity, and it gives a great sort of perspective and a reminder that this kind of thread of upliftment, has been around for a long time, and it's been wonderful and lovely, Florence. Thank you very much indeed.
And with that, I will toast you with a spoonful of sugar and my teacup. I have a cup of tea, and I toast you.
Florence, thank you very much indeed.
And more joy to you.
Thank you very much. Okay, and you, Florence, and you. Okay.
Cheerio.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.